what is Digital Day? So Digital Day is a flagship event through BIMA, and it links a digital employer with a school for a day. It's a nationwide competition for schools to inspire the students to learn more about our sector and the careers that are available and the routes into those careers at times. It's aimed at high school children and lower end of college. It's an exciting opportunity for us to go into those schools and colleges. And the idea is to actually inspire the next generation of digital talent. So we give you a ready-made lesson plan that you work through with the teachers and the students and all the materials that go with it. We have sponsors who set challenges, and there's some really great challenges that they've set over the years, and that won't be any different this year. We're talking to some very high-profile organisations to be able to set those challenges. And students pick one of those challenges to solve as part of that competition. The school gets a cash prize if they win, but also they get once-in-a-lifetime experiences for that winning team in their school. And in previous years, this has included tours of Microsoft HQ, Channel 4 studios, and a number of different big organisations. And the students get very excited about it. And the purpose is to create awareness of our industry and the careers in it. And the key thing is to create that pipeline and us to inspire those future generations. And we'll talk about post-Digital Day in a bit and how we have increased those sort of aspirations to join our industry. So this is the setup of through BIMA, how Digital Day works. So you have the Young Talent Council, which is made up of a number of people who sit alongside me, and we look at how Digital Day runs. And we've come on board this year to run it in the way it has been, but actually to add some value to it and to look at how we grow that year on year. And then you've got the team at BIMA HQ who have been looking after this for a number of years. Then it comes down to regional coordinators, and this concept was introduced last year. I myself was a regional coordinator, and it was my first experience of Digital Day. And a number of you might have been regional coordinators, or you might think that this could be a role for you in Digital Day, as well as going into a school. The ones in white are those that we're yet to recruit. The ones in solid black text are already confirmed, and those in italic black text, we're having the conversation with, and we think we've got covered. So if you're in any of those white areas, we'd be really interested to speak to you if you would like to play a role of regional coordinator. And I'll talk about what that role is in a moment. The regional coordinators link with the agencies and organisations who are going to go into schools, and often they go into schools themselves. And then the further down is they're working with the schools and colleges. And they're working very, very much with us as a Young Talent Council and the BIMA HQ. What we've introduced this year is a partnership with 3 organisations: the Careers and Enterprise Company, which is a government organisation providing enterprise advisors into schools. And we're working with them through their schools network to get the message out around Digital Day, so that they're broadcasting it through to schools and a number of people in schools, and specifically those who deal with careers and enterprise competitions such as ours, so that they can then sign up as a school to Digital Day in November. Social Mobility Foundation, once again, they work with 300 schools across the UK. And what their role is they work with Premium Plus students in schools who might be disadvantaged. They're not disadvantaged areas, but disadvantaged pupils in schools, to help them in careers and to go to university, for example, or any other assistance that they might need. And once again, they will contact every school that they have on their network to talk to them about Digital Day. And then last, but certainly not least, is STEMnet. So the STEM Ambassador Programme, they contact all the schools across the UK that are on the STEMnet programme, and will let them know about Digital Day, which is November the 14th this year. So the schools are covered by three quite large agencies and organisations to be able to give them the message. It doesn't prevent us from going to schools and colleges that we know and actually having that conversation as well. And we're seeing this year there's quite a conversation going on between agencies who've already paired with schools previously and formed Digital Day and brought them back on board. So the regional coordinator role, it's simply recruiting agencies and organisations in that region to take part. So it might be that you already have a network there that you can tap into through the BIMA network in that region. It might be that you email out to those organisations, and it might be that you've been wanting to talk to others in agencies in your region anyway, and to form that network. And this gives a really good reason to meet with them and have a coffee and have a chat. The regional coordinator will also read questions. So if there are questions that come in from the agencies that they don't have the answers to, they will then return them to BIMA HQ and to the Young Talent Council to see if they can be answered. And also after Digital Day, once we have a wash up and we do some form of retro, it's gathering the feedback for that, to get feedback from the agencies, feedback from their own experiences personally as a regional coordinator, and from schools if they can gather that. And as I said, if they do know schools, reaching out to schools where it's possible. We saw last year that actually was the hardest task for regional coordinators, because there's not always a link between agencies and schools and education, and they didn't know how to contact them or who to contact. So we've aimed to close that loop with those 3 organisations, but it doesn't prevent us having the conversation if you want to. In terms of agencies, now everyone who's joined, who is part of an organisation, I would hope is really looking forward and finding out how they can take part. So one of the questions that came up last year was actually, what does it mean to me as an agency? What is the impact on effort and on us as an organisation? All we need from you is to commit 2 members of your team. And that's a minimum. You can give us more than that if you can. And it's to go to the school and run the day on 14th of November. There is some planning, which I'll talk around what's involved in that. And it might be that the schools have bigger groups. So if you have more than 2 people, we're happy to send them to bigger groups, or you could go to more than 1 school. And that has happened with a number of agencies over the years, where they've connected with more than 1 school and sent people out. Now, what's really interesting is that we find a lot of agencies in the past have sent out some of their apprentices and their junior members of staff. And it's been a really, really good session, and those people have done a really good job of inspiring those students. And there's 2 reasons for that. One of them is they haven't left school that long ago, but also they're really good role models, and they can talk about their journey into the industry. They don't have to be the juniors. It might be that you want to send some seniors in. They're there to represent the industry and your agency, and they're going to be presenting, so they have to be comfortable presenting about your agency and the industry. But it is a real good opportunity for any junior staff. And anyone who's passionate about bridging that skills gap and telling others about the industry and about their role, it's absolutely perfect. And what's really important, that it's not just developers we send in and not just client services, that it's a mixture of people. It's through from UX through to administrators, data scientists to analytical type people. Anybody can go in, as long as they're happy just to present and feed into the day. The teachers will actually run the day, and they're not there to teach and to control children, the agency people. That's what the teacher's job should be. Then it's just there to give them inspiration and give them some tips when they're going through the challenges. The other thing is they don't need DBS checks, which used to be, with those who don't know what DBS is, Disclosure Barring Service. It used to be called CRB. So they don't need to have that, as they'll be accompanied by a teacher with those students at all times. In terms of the planning, so what we look at is about around half a day planning. And that's the overall effort. So that's liaising with the partnered school in advance, and I'll talk about how you prep that. Swapping numbers, and also then putting in place the protocols and housekeeping and understanding that. And we provide you through BIMA a template that you can use for a presentation. Some of that will be industry specific content, and we'll link out to videos that we will provide. but there will be space for you to talk about your agency story and who you are. And that's really, really important, because we want that to resonate in the local area, in the local region. We want them to know who's immediately there. So when they have aspirations to leave school and go to uni or do an apprenticeship or go straight into work, that they've got those links with that agency who came in with them and understand it, and understand who's out there. So it's half-day planning. It's the 1 day running, which is a full school day. And then what we would like is an hour to spend some time feeding back to us on how it can be improved, what the experiences were as well. There are agencies who spend a lot more time than this, and that's absolutely fine. Some like to create blogs, they like to create stories around what's happened, and really can put some PR effort behind it. In terms of the prep, you meet with the school, and at the very least you'll have a phone call with them. If you can't find time, the school very often they struggle to provide time, have a call with them at least, but do try and go and see the space that you're going to be in and you're going to be holding digital day in, and that you have all you need to present. So there is a screen there, plus security restrictions. What we find is that some schools, for example, do not allow you to connect they've got interactive whiteboards, and you cannot connect your laptop to their network or to their whiteboard, so you have to put it onto a memory stick. Little things like that. Have they got enough tables? Are they big enough? Remind them that they've got to print off the materials that they've been sent. We provide you with an agenda template, and what you need to do is then work with the school to update the times around the breaks and the school's day. So some schools have different break times. It's pretty standard across the UK for the main part, but just check in. And also you will find that some schools will change their break patterns and their lunch patterns to accommodate digital day. So have that conversation with them. Meet the teachers who are going to be involved, because you'll be able to establish what sort of support they're going to give, and if they are really passionate about it themselves, or sometimes it's just something they want their kids to do. And it really, you can then start trying to inspire them and get them excited about the day. You can decide with the teachers which challenge the school group or groups, if there are more than one group and you're sending in more people, that they're going to do. And do that up front, because it takes time from actually thinking about it on the day, and it gives you an idea of how you're going to prep with the school. Discuss the suitable icebreakers from the list we provide, or you can even add your own. The icebreakers are there to just get them warmed up and thinking in the morning. And so you can have a look at the list that we give you, but do feel free to add your own, as long as they can stick to the agenda and the times. And timing's really important, so it gives more time for challenges. Ask the school about their phone policy for their students. What we want is as much social noise and social activity as possible, and we want these students posting how much they're enjoying it. Ask them if the students can use them to post on the day. Some schools allow it. Some schools even say that teachers have to put their mobile phones into lockers and to locked areas. So it really will vary per school, but see if there can be an allowance just for those students during digital day, so that they can start tweeting, they can start Snapchatting around the day. And that's really, really important that we try and get some social interaction from them. Check that they're happy for you as an agency to post on social throughout the day. So you might want to take photographs and show some of the work and show your staff there in the classroom, and ask them what their social account names are, so that you can actually tag them as well and bring them into the conversation. And then in the prep is tailoring the presentation template we provide to add your information. We give you two types of template, because we know that different organisations use different ratios in terms of the way that the presentations are. So we give you a square one and we give you a landscape one, like I'm showing you today. And in the past, we've just given the square one. It's been hard for agencies to, it's a bit more effort. So we're giving you both of those. So on to the day, and the day is the really exciting part. So this is what it looks like in a nutshell from a high level. You have a full school day and arrive early to set up. So if you arrive around and organise it with the school when you have that meeting, 8 to 8:30, so that you can set up and take in anything that you need to. So it might be that you want to take in and show the school some a product that you've created, or it could be a system that you've got that they can use. It might be a virtual reality kit, for example. So anything that you've got, if you want to take in, so that starts warming the students up. And actually, what we find, things like that really gets the teachers quite excited. So do that early morning. And then first thing when they come in, introduce yourselves, and it's icebreakers. And we have a presentation and a video that you can run that talks about the industry. And then you'll have your part. And it's up to you what you want to put in it from your agency side. Once we give it over to you, it's yours to do what you want with. We just want to make sure there's key messaging in there, which is about the industry and about BIMA as well. And then it's all about you as an agency. And then late morning to after lunch is when they start the challenges, and they go through the afternoon working on these. Now, some of the questions we've had in the past, and I totally understand it, is let's make it more digital. And we would really love to do this, and we are looking at for next year digital submission. This year we got involved quite late on, and we're moving it into a way that we want to go down the digital route. However, we're very cautious still on the facilities that schools have to do that. So this year it will still be on the big paper. Some schools have submitted in terms of electronic PowerPoints or things like that, and submitted rather than a digital solution, but actually put some more ideas in PowerPoint or whatnot. However, what happens is in the judging at the moment, that becomes really hard to judge and compare. So this is the route we're taking this year, but I can tell you we're looking at different routes for further years. The other thing is not every school has the privilege of having computers that they can use that are of a level where they could actually design something or do something with. So we want to keep it fair so that we're giving them a chance to input, but actually we're trying to inspire them in a digital way as well. But as I say, this year it's still going to remain the same. They've got big sheets that they fill in and they stick things on and they do it on paper. However, we are looking at digital submissions from next year onwards. And then after the afternoon break is pitch. So what they do is they pitch their ideas and against their challenge and talk around all the different areas. One of the things that I found was really useful, and it's very much up to the agency how they run it, but one of the things that I quite liked and really worked was identifying roles within a team so that people became that role throughout the challenge. So some people were strategists, some people were designers, some people were project managers, some were client services, and they would be the one who pitched at the end, for example. So it was all dependent on what the challenge is, and also your experience as an agency. You can set the scene and set roles with them, so they can really look at those skills that are used in that role. And that was really good in trying to, I don't want to use the word control, but control in the way that each of those individuals thought and give it some direction. That's probably the key word is direction. Now, a lot of them do think completely differently to the way we do as adults, which is wonderful. Some of the ideas they have are amazing. And we don't want to constrain that. It doesn't matter if it's not possible right now. It's about thinking, and it's about looking at how do you develop and inspire those thoughts within those students for the future. So some history and some background. Almost 90% of students that have taken part in Digital Day over the years, and we're our 6th year now, said they would consider a career in digital as a result of the day. Now that's quite a substantial impact, because we have we've now touched, so to speak, 4,140 kids with our inspiration. So in terms of Digital Day and working with those, and that could have a huge impact on our industry nationwide. And in 2 years, the growth of that has been 92%. So that's absolutely remarkable in terms of what we're achieving, and we want to achieve an even higher growth pattern on that. For the schools and young people, it really gives them an idea of the career paths and opportunities. This is the #1 reason that students say they don't go into certain careers if they didn't know about them or how to get into them. And actually, they see our industry from research that it's very much around coding. And so those others who might not be wanting to become developers don't consider it an option for them. Research by the Careers and Enterprise Company, who I talked about earlier, shows that 4 encounters with an employer increases the chance of a student not becoming NEET, which is not in education, employment or training. And it increases the chance of them going into employment, and especially in the sectors encountered, by 87%. It's quite substantial, and we want to be at least one of those encounters that those students have with employers, and that's done through Digital Day. And we would also like to create an ongoing link, perhaps, between an agency, an organisation, and that school, to be able to inspire those students on an ongoing basis and create those employer encounters. It sparks imagination, and from just my first year of experience in Digital Day last year, that imagination was wild, and it was absolutely incredible what the students I worked with, the 3 groups I had last year, some of the things that they thought of, from nanobot technology to reusing World War I propaganda in a marketing campaign. And it's things that perhaps we wouldn't even imagine as adults, and it's really refreshing and quite inspiring for us as well. It does increase that employability, as I say, through those employer encounters. It contributes to IDEA. IDEA, for those who might not be aware of it, is the digital equivalent of the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. It's the digital awards that were the Duke of York Digital Awards that were created at the beginning of this year, where students and children, whether they're at school or not, can get awarded badges depending on what they've done extracurricular in terms of digital. So just like DofE, they can win awards, and this contributes to it. We work in partnership with IDEA and with the Duke of York for this, and it's a really great sort of accolade for us to have in terms of IDEA, but also for the students to actually win some of their badges and some points towards their awards. The other thing that we find, it really increases teacher awareness. And actually, teachers did not realise the career opportunities that were available in our industry. And I have to say, from a number of agencies, the feedback has been that even teachers want to join our industry after we go in and talk to them. You can't inspire every student, and you can't inspire every teacher. But if we can even tap into 10% of those, then that's a difference from not going in at all. And it's really, really worthwhile. Sometimes it can give the teachers the boost that they need. And actually, if you can form a link with that teacher and that ongoing support for the teacher in terms of digital, then, and they can tap into resource, or you can give them some information, that really can help them to inspire those students. For agencies, it's purposeful. Now, that might sound quite a glib statement, but actually, if you've got millennials in your organisations and Generation Z coming after that are really coming up quick behind them into organisations, one of the key things they've said in terms of research for employers and what they want to do job-wise is they want to feel like they're doing something purposeful. Now, we'd hope in all our organisations that they feel that anyway, but it really does create a sense of purpose, that they're inspiring the next generation, especially, as I say, for juniors, if you're sending those in. It's a massive PR opportunity for all our agencies, not just for BIMA, but actually in line with the schools and the agencies. You can put out blogs about this, you can put out stories, you can put out journals of the day, all sorts of opportunities around it. It does create a link, and what we see is a few of the agencies last year that I've spoken to who did this for the first time, what they're doing, they link with the school and they're mentoring the students, but actually in return, what they're getting is some users to be able to test products that they're releasing, because it's their target audience. So that's what they've got in return, and actually those students really like taking part in it. And through it, they're understanding the sort of the UX process and testing processes. So that's really good for the students, but it's also good for the agency, being able to tap into a group of students like that. it grows our talent pipeline without a shadow of a doubt. And through my experiences just alone last year, I have one student inside my agency right now doing a summer internship, a paid internship, because he went away and learned some information post digital day and kept in touch because he was really interested and actually hadn't contemplated it before. And I have another school that we went to where one of the students is now going to be taking an apprenticeship as a tester and thinking about coming into an agency like ours in the region, but he hadn't contemplated before either. So, you know, just with those two, that creates a talent pipeline for people in our area and organisations. New viewpoints, as I say, some of the challenge responses have been amazing from these students. And I actually partnered with an autistic school, and some of the ideas and some of the ways of working that came out of that group of students blew my mind, and it really got me to see things in a different way and how we can work with them. And practical experience, so it gives practical experience not only to the students, and enterprise experience is really, really important for them, and especially in when they're going into education, into employment, because they've got some sort of practical experience in enterprise, but also the practical experience it gives perhaps juniors in your team who go in and work with them and present to a group of people and try and inspire them. So it really does give them some experience of public speaking, and even almost in a pitch type scenario. So looking forward, this really is our sort of tagline on this. We're inspiring those who can inspire. So that's what we want to do ongoing. We're already working on the future ambitions of Digital Day, and it's really clear and it's really known that spending just one day with a group of students is a small part of what can be done. And we know that we walk away after that one day and leave others to try and carry on inspiring them. So through the Young Talent Council at BIMA, we're already working on how we can extend that good work for everyone that happens on that day using partnerships and things such as the Enterprise Advisor Network. Those people who have regular connections with schools, with students and education, to look at how they can follow up on our behalf, and we can link in with them to carry on that inspiration with the students that we walked away from that one day. And also how we can connect agencies on an ongoing link so that they can continue that inspiration. And we want it to grow. We want it to feature on school calendars alongside Young Enterprise. And interestingly, Digital Day falls within Enterprise Week. So schools like to do it because it is another enterprise activity for them. And alongside the National Science and Engineering initiatives that go on throughout the year, we think it's important enough, and we know it's important enough, to be able to take a platform alongside those key activities. If you do have any questions, you can contact me at BIMA, and if you haven't got my contact details, it is on the BIMA website, and you can contact the team at HQ as well.